Hi guys, and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today I'm going to be looking at the HMH AMX 1357, which is the other of the two new heavy metal hero tanks to hit console, both French. And yesterday this had no tracks, so anybody who's seen it on Twitter, I put a picture of it up on there, and also I think I mentioned it in the AMX M449 review as well. But they did a patch this morning, and it's now got its wheels back. In fact, I'll see if I can just stick a picture up there with it without its wheels for you. But anyway, Tier 7 light tank, and I use the term light tank loosely because although it may be quite light in weight, that's about it. It is, well, in my opinion, a great big hot steaming pile of garbage. I really don't like this tank. I don't think it's a good tank in the slightest, but I will not try and let that sort of affect my review, and just sort of give you the basics, and maybe give you the reasons why I don't like it and why I think it's a bad tank. And it's not very often I say that something's a bad tank, but I do think this is a bad tank. Full stop. Right, I've actually rebought the AMX 12T and the AMX 1375. So that I can sort of compare it toward, compare it to those. More towards the 1375 because that is the Tier 7 tech tree French light tank. The 12T was more just to show you that it sort of has more in common looks-wise with the 12T rather than the 1375. The 1375 is a bit lower and longer. And with this, it never went into production. It was being produced, but it was basically plagued by sort of problems that slowed it down. By the 1950s it still wasn't ready to present, and by that time they're already working on a modified chassis and turret containing the 75mm gun, which then took precedent and basically became the 1375, which was in production for a long time. And this was, you know, they never even bothered finishing it off, and it's got a 57mm gun. Now, I really quite enjoyed the AMX 12T. I thought it was a good little fun light tank. It has a power to weight ratio of 20.54, which isn't the best at all. In fact, I think the French light tanks are probably some of the slowest in the game. Tier for tier, definitely. And the gun was alright. 145 pen, I think it is. 135 damage. 144, 135. So yeah, not too bad at all. And then you move up to the 1375. Which is a great big steaming pile of garbage as well, and completely almost put me off continuing. I'm really enjoying the 1390 as well, but the problem with the 1375 is not only were you using exactly the same gun as you were a tier lower, but you're now seeing tanks a tier higher, seeing up to tier 10, and it just felt woefully underpowered, the gun. It also, even though it had a slightly bigger engine, it's a heavier tank, so it had a worse power to weight ratio of 19.74, which doesn't seem a lot, but it did seem to make quite a difference. The AMX 1390 gets 23.50, and that's obviously a tier higher. So with the 1375, I just felt it was too slow, too big, and the gun was completely underwhelming and just ridiculously hard to actually be effective in anything other than sort of tier 8 matches, maybe tier 9 if you're very fortunate. Because, like I say, it's exactly the same gun, 144 pen, 135 damage. But that gives you a burst potential, clip-wise, of around an average of 840, because you've got 6 rounds in the clip. The AMX 1357 has a 57mm gun. It has lower pen, only by 1, but 143, but it only does 90 damage per shot. Even though it has 2 more rounds in the clip, that means that it has a lower burst potential than the 1375 of about 720, I think I worked it out as something like that. Or was it 710? No, I can't remember anyway. But it was about that anyway, so it is actually less than the 1375, and they both have a 16-second reload for a full clip. So you will do more damage in a burst with the 1375 than you will in the 1357, and I thought the 1375 was crap and the gun was underwhelming. Mostly because of the pen. And coupled with that you get a smaller engine in this with a lower power to weight ratio, I really don't like this tank. But anyway, 250 horsepower engine, which is the same size as on the 12T, but that's a lighter tank, so you get, it's got a better gun, and you get a better power to weight ratio. You've got the 57mm L100, so it's a long 57mm. Now it says 20 rounds a minute. It kind of is. The space in between firing each shell is very, very short, and then you've still got that, you know, just that 16-second reload, but you've got 2 extra rounds in there to fire off as well, which is kind of what affects that. But there's something else I want to mention as well in a minute. But anyway, 143 pen and only 90 damage, and then 195 for your premium. That's it. You've just got standard or premium, and even the 195 is less than the premium ammunition on the 75mm on the 1375. 2.3 second aiming time, which is not great, and 0.37 accuracy, which again is not brilliant. Could be worse, but it's still not brilliant. 48 degree traverse, 45 on your turret, and a 390 meter view range. Now it says here that the firepower on this is 32 and is only 26 on the 1375. I don't quite get how that works, seeing as the 1375 has higher burst potential and higher damage per round as well, and higher pen on its standard rounds, admittedly only by 1, and on its premium rounds. So I don't quite get how that works out. But yeah, like I say, it just, I don't know. This tank should have been a tier 6 in my opinion, not a tier 7. It should have been a tier 6 light tank. Either that, or it should have kept its original 10-shot auto-loading clip, because it used to have a 10-shot one, I think, from PC, which would give you an average burst potential of 900, which would make it a bit more competitive, even though you've still got that crappy pen. You know, it just would have given you a bit more of an edge. So yeah, I really think this either needs to drop down to tier 6 or needs to regain those extra 2 shots, because at the moment it is just very underwhelming. The gun is underwhelming, the tank is underwhelming speed-wise. You can't use this effectively like you would use a lot of other light tanks. If you're familiar with the French light tanks anyway, you'd know how to use this. You have to use it a bit more like a medium and a late game assassin kind of thing. But even that, this is the slowest one out of all 3 of that sort of range. So the 12T, the 1375 and the 1390, this is the slowest, with the lowest power to weight ratio. Supplies, they are cheap though, only 85 for your armor piercing rounds and 2,800 for your APCR. And you do carry quite a few rounds, a lot more than you do in the 12T, and a lot more, well, what's that, 40, 56, so 36, so you carry 20 more rounds, but that's just because they are smaller rounds, but you're doing a lot less damage per round as well. So again, it just makes up for the, you know, the extra rounds just make up for the lack of this sort of gun. Equipment wise, I've gone for gun laying drive, optics and vents. There's no gun rammer available on this, and this is the crew out of my 1390, so I've got situational awareness, camouflage, sixth sense, brothers in arms, and I'm going for smooth ride as well. Now another thing with this tank is the sandbags on it are not extra armour, so the extra road wheel on the front, the extra tracks and the sandbags do not count as extra armour. They are purely decoration, whereas on the M449 they are spaced armour. On this they are just decoration. Again, don't get it. Why do it on one and not the other? I just don't get that at all. And I think, you know, if you're going to have them on it, have them as spaced armour, otherwise just get rid of them. You know, it looks quite nice, but I don't, like I said, I don't get why they are armour on one and not on the other. It just baffles me. But let's get into some of these stats as well. Concealment is quite, I think that's quite nice. Yeah. But again, no, 0.31, no it's not. It's average. Average concealment for the French light tanks. Even though it says 0.33 instead of 0.31, basically that just makes up for the fact that it's got perma camo on it, and if you put camouflage on the other tanks, the 12T that I've just looked at, the 1375, in theory it will have 0.33 camouflage, just like this does. So that power to weight ratio, like I said, it's not very good. At 17.01, it does make the tank feel very sluggish. And you've got a 61 km/h top speed, which again is about in line with the others. 23 in reverse and a big 20% chance of fire, and you would have to try pretty hard not to hit engine when you're shooting at one of these. In fact, most of the time my engine does get damaged in this, so preventative maintenance is probably an idea, possibly, because you're probably going to get set on fire. I have once or twice in this, so preventative maintenance might be one to stick on this as well. And I've not even mentioned the price. Just over 7,000 for the base pack on this, which again I think is ridiculously overpriced. Considering the Lycan is around 4,000 gold, and this is just over 7,000, I'd go for the Lycan it's a better tank, full stop. Gun-wise, well, like I said, 16 seconds for a full reload, and as usual with these oscillating turrets, it is plagued with horrific gun elevation and depression. Plus 12 degrees for your elevation and minus 6 for your depression. So yeah, just you've got to try and be more or less on a level. Anything gets above you, you can't shoot it. Anything gets too below you, you can't really shoot it. So it's just one of those things. It's a plague of all these tanks with the oscillating turrets. They do have horrible elevation and depression values. Terrain resistances, again, are about average with the other French light tanks. 0.6, 0.7 and 1.4. They are 0.1 better than on the others. I think the 1375 is 0.7, 0.8 and 1.5. So they are very fractionally better. Turret, not quite on top. Again, with these, it's weird. The collar seems to indicate the turret, the rest of it seems to indicate the gun. So it is a bit odd with that with these ones. The radio is located down in the centre of the hull, and then the ammo racks are in the back of the turret on the bustle, and then just concentrated down in between, well, basically where the engine isn't. So if you don't hit engine, you're going to hit an ammo rack. And then the crew, you've just got one in the front, the driver, and then you've got two up in the turret, which is your commander, who also doubles up as a loader, and the gunner, and I don't know if it's the driver or the commander, also doubles up as the radio operator as well. Because I got my commander knocked out, it really affected my reload, and put it up to about 19 seconds, something like that. Armour-wise, oh, and by the way, this does play up to tier 10, so like I say, I think this should have either been a tier 6, or it should have retained its 10-shot auto-loader. And it's also got slightly less, only 10, but it's got 10 less hit points than the 1375 as well. Its bonuses, by the way, 40% silver and 25% XP. Now, armour-wise, same profile or same values as the 1375. So you've got 50 on the front of the hull, 40 on the front of the turret, and then 20 on the side of both. 15 on the side of the hull and 20 on the side. 15 on the rear of the hull and 20 on the rear of the turret. And there isn't a great deal to say about it, to be honest. Armour-wise, I mean, you can see it all there. It's not like you're going to be looking for weak spots. It's a light tank. You point and shoot. Generally, you know, unless you're very, very unlucky, you're going to pen. But once 20 is most of it. Yeah, just about the whole thing, apart from that strip across the front, upper and lower glacis, and then the front of the turret and the front of the sort of turret collar, if you will, and then 31 to 50, the strip right at the very front of the well, where the upper and lower glacis meet, and then that part there is actually just on the bottom of the oscillating part of the turret, which goes into the turret collar. So the turret collar is probably one of the places where the armour is thickest, because you've got that part in front and then that bit behind it, but even so, you're not going to have any trouble penning one of these things, I wouldn't have thought. So there you go, 1357. A premium and worse version of the 1375, which is possibly... which is the worst tank in that entire tank line, I think. Like I say, 12T, good fun little tank. 1375, hideous, horrible, steaming pile of crap. And then 1390, good fun tank afterwards. But this is definitely the low point and nearly put me off the line altogether. And then the 1375 is, in my opinion, worse than that. In every way. I don't think it outperforms it in any way, shape or form. It might have slightly better traversers on the hull, but then again it's got a smaller engine and a smaller power to weight ratio, so it's all, again, swings and roundabouts. But anyway, enough of me moaning about it, let's see it in action. Right, so here we are for the first of the replays, and this was actually the very first game that I played in it, but I think it's quite representative of the average games that I played in this, so that's why I used it. And I know some people do skip the garage review, and like I said in there, it is... I just think it's crap. I really do. It's like I said in the garage, with the French light tank line, the 12T was a good fun little tank. The 1375 was horrific, and the 1390 is a good fun tank. And what it is, it's because the 1375, and you can see here, this is where it got no wheels as well. The thing is, with 1375, it uses the same gun as the tier 6 below it, and it's slower. And I don't know, I just think it's a real low point in that line. And then the fact that this is worse than that, it's got a lower burst potential with the same reload as well, so it, you know, it doesn't really make a difference. Yes, this can empty its clip possibly quicker, but you're doing less damage anyway. And then you've still got the same reload. In fact, I think, to be honest, it probably empties these 8 at the same time that empties its 6. So, it, you know, again, swings and roundabouts. But the fact that this is slower as well, and I just think it's a big difference. And it makes too much of a difference. And I just really don't think this is a good tank. But yeah, I don't know. You see, the other thing is with this, that the aim time isn't brilliant, and if you're trying to use this at any kind of range, it completely negates your rate of fire. It completely eliminates how quickly you can empty that clip, because you fire a shell and the dispersion, well, basically you reloaded way before you're aimed. Way before, so you then have to sit and wait for your aim to come back in, otherwise you just seem to miss a lot. So the only real way to get your rate of fire effective is to be close, and I mean close. I think there's in fact, it might even be the next replay that I use, and it'll sort of, you know, there's an example of that in it where I'm sat, because nobody covers one flank, so I end up having to pull back and just trying to sort of spot and put shots in as I can. But at range, I'm having to just wait each time for that aim time to you know, for that aiming circle to settle back down again. So like I say, it just completely gets rid of any advantage that your rate of fire may have, or the speed that emptying your clip may have. And the only real way to actually use that to any kind of advantage at all is to be really close, where you can't miss. And this is, I mean, I've used this one as well because it does kind of show how slow this is compared to others. I mean, there's medium tanks, a lot of medium tanks that are faster than this. And again, you know, I'm not trying to be down on it, I'm just trying to give you the facts as I see them. You know, this is worse than the other, you know, it's worse than, I think, the other tier 7 lights that are available, and it's more expensive. Maybe not than the Dragon, I think that's about the same price. But I can't see why you would choose that tank over a Lycan when the Lycan is nearly half price. You know, it's almost half the price of this. And I just, yeah, I don't know. Like I say, this should have either retained its 10 shots, or it should be a tier 6. But it's just, I don't know. Like I say, I thought the 1375 was too slow, and they made this slower. I thought the 1375 gun was very, very underwhelming on a tier 7. It was alright on a tier 6 because you weren't in tier 9s that, you know, that often. You were mostly tier 7 or 8 matches, and it worked. On a tier 7 light tank where you're mostly tier 9 or 10 matches, or occasionally tier 8. You know, in the occasional tier 8 match, the gun on the 1375 is okay. And but the fact is, with it being tier 7 light, you're not in tier 8s that often. It's usually tier 9s, you know, tier 10s as well, and the gun was terrible. And the fact that this gun, personally, I think is worse than that, I just don't, I don't get it. I don't get why you'd want this. I mean, there might be people out there that are thinking, what are you on about? It's a great tank, but yeah, I really don't think so. And there you go, look. Before I was spotted, I was trying to empty shells into him, and they were just missing. All of them missing because the aiming circle was just too big each time it refired, or each time it fired. And you just have to get close to actually take advantage of that rate of fire. But at that range, I was even struggling to pen the front of that Crafts Panther. And, you know, they've got 85mm of you know, sloped frontal armour, but I was hitting the frontal armour and it was just bouncing. But I'm going to take up a position over here, try and spot anything that comes across there, because the team have just gone the other way. I said to keep an eye on the castle, and some idiot said negative. You know, they obviously want the entire team to go that one way. And somebody else even marked over there as well and got no response. So, there we go. Obviously, that guy wants the team to all go one way, fail, and get surrounded. And to be honest, I mean, bit of a spoiler, how this ended up a win, I don't quite know. I think it was through a bit of pure luck and a couple of people actually having sense to see that the enemy were coming around behind us and coming back to trying to deal with them. But at the moment there's not much I can do. But you could see when I was shooting that T-29, I was having to wait for that aim circle to settle back down again before I could fire. And now I need to get out of there. And you need to start moving early. I probably should have started moving earlier than that, and I think I only survived this by the grace of God, to be honest, because there's shells coming in everywhere and I am not a quick tank. So you really need to start moving earlier, and don't expect to be sort of zipping about too quickly in this. Yeah, I don't know what they were. I don't know what it is with this. I mean, you know, I've heard people saying, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to this," and blah blah blah, and it was supposed to be all right on the PC. But then again, like I say, when it came out on the PC, it had a 10-shot clip, which gave it that advantage because it gave it a slightly bigger burst potential than the 1375, the Tech Tree Tier 7, sorry. But now it's, you know, its burst potential is actually 120 average less than that one, and on top of that, like I say, it's slower as well. And I know I've said before that I realised premium tanks can't be loads better than Tech Tree ones because people will cry pay to win, but I don't see why they have to make it so much worse. You know, give it one disadvantage or another, but not, you know, not 2 or 3 disadvantages. Because then what's the point? Especially when they're wanting so much for it. I mean, over 7,000 is its base package for this. You know, that's like getting on for 25 quid for this tank. And I mean, with the M449 already being about 50 quid as well, it's a hell of a lot of money. You know, when you look at it like that, I mean, I was saying it was 15,000 gold. That's roughly 50 quid's worth of gold. You know, that's a hell of a lot, really. And it's got to be getting on for that at least. You know, 45, 50 quid's worth of gold, and then with this is, you know, getting on for sort of 23, 25 quid's worth of gold for this tank, and it's a hell of a lot for a Tier 7 light tank. And especially for a Tier 7 light tank that's got so much competition that is cheaper or free. You know, if you got the 1375 from the Tech Tree, that's a free tank and it's faster than this and the gun does more damage. And it's got higher pen on its premium rounds. You know, it doesn't carry as much ammo, but the extra ammo that this carries only just makes up for the fact that it does less damage per shot. Or like I said in the garage, you've got the Lycan at around 4,000 gold, Tier 7 light tank, which personally I think is a better tank than this. I know that sounds daft. I mean, I made a mistake there. I thought I'd take him down before he actually got a shot into me. And again, if I'd probably had the Lycan or the 1375, I probably would have done, because I'd have done more damage per shot. And I know it sounds a bit sort of counterintuitive when I'm saying how much I dislike this tank and how much I genuinely think it is a bad tank. And then, you know, I have a sort of an alright game in it. But then again, you know, anybody can have an alright game in a bad tank if you have the right sort of luck or matchmaking or whatever. I'll try and go after this T-29, but somebody takes him down before I get there. And there's only a couple left. There's a Gorinich and a Fatherland. Now the Fatherland I don't fancy trying to take on, or the Gorinich to be honest, with the pen that this has got. But if I can get behind the Gorinich, I should just be able to pen around the engine compartment. But I'm going to have to wait for that aim circle to die down again. And aim up, 1, bounce, in, bounce, in. And that's it for the match. But that's what I mean about the pen, it just seems a little bit underwhelming. And I can see why this tank never went into production. Well, there you go. Like I say, I did get an ace tank, but I'm not going to put too much stock into that. It's only just come out, and I've barely seen any of them, to be honest. I've seen a couple of the M449s, but I've only seen, I think, one other of these. And that's probably because of the price as well. But there you go, 13.57. In my opinion, a big disappointment, and way, way too overpriced for what it actually is. One I will definitely not be getting. I would love the M449, but I really kind of just don't want to pay that much for it. It's simple as that. It's very, very expensive. And this one, yeah, no, I'm alright, thank you. But there you go anyway. I hope you've enjoyed that one. I'll be back with another video either later on today or tomorrow. We've got a few appointments, so until then, take care out there, and I'll catch you next time. See you later.